Nike Cortez. Nike Cortez first appeared in 1972, during the very early days of Nike, when the company was still trying to establish itself in the American market. The model was created by Bill Bowerman and Phil Knight, the founders of the brand, who wanted to make lightweight running shoes for long-distance runners. At the time, most athletic shoes were heavy and stiff, but the Cortez stood out because of its soft sole, simple silhouette, and overall comfort. The name was inspired by the Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés, and the shoe quickly became one of Nike's first truly mainstream running sneakers. The earliest versions of the Cortez were built specifically for sports. In the early 70s, jogging was becoming increasingly popular across the United States, and Nike used that moment to promote a new generation of athletic footwear. But the real story of the Cortez began not on running tracks, but on the streets of Los Angeles. During the 70s and 80s, the sneakers slowly became part of Southern California street culture. The model became especially popular in Latino neighborhoods throughout Los Angeles. This was also where the Cortez became associated with street gangs. During the 80s and 90s, many gang members wore the sneakers as part of their everyday style. The shoe became strongly connected to Chicano culture in Los Angeles. White socks, loose pants, flannel shirts, and Nike Cortez formed a recognizable visual identity tied to an entire era. Because of this connection, some schools and public places even banned the shoes, believing they were linked to gangs and street violence. At the same time, the sneakers themselves were never designed for criminal culture. They simply became part of a certain environment. For many people living in poorer neighborhoods, Cortez sneakers were affordable, stylish, and practical enough to wear every day. Eventually, the image became so strong that Nike itself was careful for years about heavily promoting the model in Los Angeles. The shoes also gained massive popularity through pop culture. One of the most famous moments came in the 1994 film Forrest Gump. The main character receives a pair of white, red, and blue Nike Cortez sneakers and famously runs across America wearing them. After the movie's release, sales of the model increased dramatically, and the Cortez started being viewed not just as streetwear, but as part of American cultural history. Over the years, the Nike Cortez went through several waves of popularity. In the 2000s, the model partially faded into the background as bulky basketball sneakers and highly technical athletic shoes dominated the market. But later, the rise of retro sneaker culture brought renewed attention to classic designs. Today, the Nike Cortez remains one of the most recognizable sneakers ever created. For some people, it represents old Los Angeles street culture. For others, it is tied to hip-hop and breakdancing. Some remember it from Forrest Gump, while others connect it to 90s street fashion. Air Jordan 1. The Air Jordan 1 High is the original version, the one that started everything before Nike quietly updated the design nearly a decade later. It came out in 1985, built specifically for Michael Jordan during his first season with the Chicago Bulls, and it looked and felt different from what athletes were wearing at the time. The leather was premium, the construction was considered, and the shoe had a sense of purpose that most sneakers of that era simply didn't. It retailed for $65, which felt like a meaningful number back then. In 1984, rookie Michael Jordan was drafted by the Chicago Bulls on a contract worth an extraordinary $6 million. Major sportswear manufacturers, including Adidas and Nike, took immediate notice and reached out about endorsement deals. Jordan, however, had been playing in Converse, liked them, and was planning to sign with that brand. Promoting shoes he didn't personally find comfortable didn't sit right with him. Nike then approached his parents with a different kind of offer. Not a standard endorsement, but the creation of an entirely new shoe line built around Jordan himself. The financial terms were hard to turn down, and he signed a 5-year deal with Nike. The central marketing play behind the Air Jordan 1 was a deliberate move around color. At the time, the NBA required players to wear predominantly white shoes during official games, with only minor contrasting accents allowed. Nike went further, and when the league publicly objected to Jordan wearing black and red on the court, the story spread across every media outlet. According to the widely told account, Nike paid each $5,000 fine without hesitation. The iconic Wings logo, a basketball encircled by wings, was created by graphic designer Peter Moore, a central figure in the sneaker industry. In 1985, he designed the original Air Jordan sneaker and sketched that first logo on a napkin following a meeting with Jordan's manager David Falk. Moore was later joined by Tinker Hatfield, who went on to develop the Jumpman logo, though the earliest sketch for that symbol had also originated with Moore. The Jordan 1 eventually became one of the most collaborated on silhouettes in sneaker history. Travis Scott, Off-White, Dior, and numerous other brands each produced their own interpretations, pushing the shoe well beyond its athletic origins and into the world of high fashion. Adidas, Stan Smith, Horst Dassler. In 1963, the son of Adidas's founder set out to create a tennis sneaker that was truly made for playing on the court. Before that, most tennis players competed in simple canvas shoes. His answer was a low-profile leather sneaker with perforated side panels and a flat sole. Nothing unnecessary, just what players needed. Robert Hyatt. In 1965, the model was released under the name of this French tennis player. He wore it until retiring in 1971. After he left the sport, Adidas began searching for a new face because the connection between the name on the shoe and a relevant athlete was important to the brand. Stanley Roger Smith. Adidas chose the American player from Pasadena who became the world's #1 tennis player. In the early 1970s, he won the Australian Open, the US Open, and Wimbledon. His portrait appeared on the tongue in 1974. And in 1978, the sneaker officially received his name, portrait, and signature. The rebranding took 4 years. Adidas was careful not to change something that was already successful. The American market. Before Stan Smith, Adidas was primarily a European brand. Tennis and the name of an American champion helped open doors that the three stripes alone might have struggled to enter. By the end of the 1970s, the brand had established a much stronger presence in the United States. Guinness World Record. In 1988, 3 years after Smith retired, his signature sneaker entered the Guinness World Records as the best-selling sneaker in the world. There was no major advertising campaign and no loud promotion. People simply kept buying it. 50 million pairs. This number represents countless people choosing the same sneaker for completely different reasons across different generations. Remaining desirable for decades without becoming ordinary is perhaps the most impressive achievement of the Stan Smith. New Balance 2000 and 2R. In 2010, New Balance introduced the 2002 as a premium running shoe. It was designed without major budget limitations and featured some of the brand's best materials and technologies. At launch, it retailed for around $250, which was considered very expensive for a running shoe at the time. Despite its high quality, the model never became a mainstream hit. Over time, production was discontinued, and the 2002 gradually faded into the background, remaining known mainly among dedicated New Balance fans. In 2020, the company decided to bring the silhouette back in an updated form. The letter R stands for reintroduced. The design remained almost identical to the original, but the shoe received a more modern sole unit, making it more comfortable and more accessible to a wider audience. Today, the New Balance 2002R is considered one of the brand's most successful models of recent years. It combines a premium look, outstanding comfort, and the heritage of the original 2002, making it a true modern classic.